The UK Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, who's in Geneva for talks with his Iranian counterpart, has just announced that charter flights will be arranged by the UK once Israeli airspace reopens to allow those British nationals who want to leave the country to return home. Israel's main international airport near Tel Aviv has been closed to passengers since last week, although some land border crossings remain open. He said, "As part of our efforts to support British nationals in the Middle East, the government is working with the Israeli authorities to provide charter flights from Tel Aviv Airport when airspace reopens, based on levels of demand from British nationals. British nationals should register their presence in Israel and the OPTs to be contacted with further guidance on these flights. Land routes out of Israel remain open, and UK staff are on hand to support British nationals who have crossed the borders. This will include providing transport subject to demand to nearby airports for onward commercial flights." Number 2. President Trump has said he wants to give negotiations a chance. There is only one negotiating track that counts. Diplomatic sources close to the talks in Geneva say European ministers who sit down with Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi today will focus on the U.S. proposal for a new nuclear deal to curb Iran's uranium enrichment. They'll convey a clear message from U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and President Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff about what's expected. "It's all about a road to zero," is how one source put it. For Iran, stopping all of its nuclear enrichment has been a red line. It's currently enriching uranium to 60%, far beyond what's needed for a civilian nuclear program. It has also previously rejected a proposal to create a regional consortium to enrich uranium outside Iran. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Saeed Khatibzadeh told me yesterday they had been on the verge of reaching an agreement when Israeli forces unleashed their military attacks. Iran believes the aim was to destroy diplomacy. The moment this aggression stops, of course, diplomacy is the first option, Khatibzadeh emphasized. That will be at the top of Tehran's demands today as both sides try to find a way to end the confrontation. Number 3. Israel's military said more than 60 of its warplanes hit dozens of targets around Tehran and other sites, including the headquarters of Iran's nuclear research agency. An Iranian missile struck a technology park in the southern Israeli city of Beersheba, damaging several buildings near an earlier strike. No one was killed, but 7 people were taken to hospital for their injuries. Top diplomats from the UK, the EU, Germany, and France will meet Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi in Geneva. It's Iran's first face-to-face talks with the West since the conflict began last week. The Geneva talks, if they go ahead as planned, would mark the most significant European involvement in this crisis to date, writes our chief international correspondent Lisa Doucet. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says his country won't enter negotiations with the U.S. until Israeli strikes stop, state media reports. Number 4. The maps below show where strikes have landed in both Israel and Iran in the latest 24-hour period. There is also a closer look at the Iranian capital, Tehran, which was hit more than 100 times, according to data from the ISW and AEI's Critical Threats Project. Number 5. David Lammy arrives in Geneva ahead of Iran talks. The UK's Foreign Secretary, David Lammy, has arrived in Geneva ahead of talks scheduled today between European foreign ministers and their Iranian counterpart. Earlier, he alluded to the urgency of the talks. A window now exists within the next 2 weeks to achieve a diplomatic solution, he said in a statement. U.S. President Donald Trump has given a 2-week deadline to decide whether the U.S. will join the Israeli attacks on Iran. European leaders hope an escalation can be avoided by finding a diplomatic solution before then. Number 6. No room for U.S. talks until Israel stops attacks, Iran Foreign Minister. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says his country won't enter negotiations with the U.S. until Israeli strikes stop, state media reports. The Americans want negotiations and have sent messages several times, but we have clearly said that there is no room for dialogue until the aggression stops, IRNA quotes Arakshi as saying. We have no talks with America as a partner in this crime. Arakshi is expected to meet European foreign ministers in Geneva today in the first face-to-face talks with Western governments since Israel started the latest conflict last week.